Hey, Facebook, let's get on in here and let's talk about this topic that I got for you guys. Alrighty, let's see. Wait for somebody. Nobody. We'll see. Maybe my husband will be my audience today. Alright, so some of you guys know that I'll just do my intro every single time. I was a hairdresser for 24 years. I like to tell people that I studied humans for a living, and y'all paid me for it. It was awesome to get in your brain, to have you tell me your thoughts, and me take mental notes on how to do life, how to not do life. I have been in the process of writing a book. It's the slowest process on account of these 5 people that I live with and working from home and homeschooling them. Here's what I feel like God's been telling me. Put the book on hold and do these videos, because so much of what I want to share with you guys in a book, you have to hear this. Y'all have to hear me. I have learned 2 things I've learned from in my life. Cutting hair, and I've learned a ton from my dear friend who is my trainer. I know that sounds silly, but no lie, 2 hours every week has been life-changing to sit with that guy and just banter about life and learn through fitness. That's another topic for another day. So each one of these videos that I'm going to be doing on Facebook, whether it's just for my husband listening or a bazillion people. Is that even a real number? We're going to call it Out From Behind the Chair. I've always wanted to write a tell-all book, very much like The Help, because for most of my haircutting time was in Frisco. I'm going to tell you what, Frisco, Texas is a whole nother planet. We're from California. It's different. But instead of having a tell-all book, like I said, I feel like standing behind the chair, I learned so much about life and so much about the Father and what He has for us. And so I'm desperate to share it with you guys. And I hope, clearly, because I feel like I have to do this, one of you guys needs to hear this message today. So one out of, I'm seeing a few. So maybe the rest of you guys can turn it off and just the one person who needs to hear this, listen. So here's what we're going to be talking about. Run your own race. See, I say that very slowly. Let me say it slower. Run your own race. Okay? So let's talk about this. My son got cancer about 6 years ago. Some of y'all know this, some of y'all don't. Some of you guys prayed for us, and again, I've said it 100 times. We're so grateful for all of you who prayed. He had a rare cancer for a kid, not so rare for an adult. Turns out it's hereditary. No. This is not a nutrition talk, so I'm not going to bore you with all those details. However, we're going to talk a little bit about that. So when he got cancer, here's what my husband and I did. We cut sugar out of his diet. We wouldn't let him have processed foods. Okay? 2 things that apparently is devastating to a 9-year-old. Who knew? Here's some things that people said to us. He'll go crazy when he goes to college and eat tons of sugar foods. Okay? Remember, my kid had cancer at the time. He'll be the kid at the birthday party gobbling up all the sugary foods because he's deprived at home. Same kid still had cancer, right? Here's what happened to me personally between me and my boy. He cried at the market because we didn't eat the same. And when I asked him, why are you crying? He said, because we don't eat the same foods that we used to. And I'm like, dude, you could totally die. Enough with this nonsense. So there's that. So fast forward a couple years after that, we post on the Facebook, hey, Where Texas is going plant-based, just because we're fun and we like to share our entire lives with you. We like living in a fishbowl, apparently. We thought it was fun. We're going with and what you need to know at that point is that my husband was very committed to the cause of meat. Here's how committed my husband was to barbecue and meat. I was a vegetarian when we met. That fool almost made the worst decision of his life. He almost didn't marry me. No, not didn't marry me. Well, he almost didn't marry me too. That was funny. He almost didn't go out with me because I didn't eat meat. How sick and twisted is that, you guys? My husband was that committed to the cause of meat. So you can imagine when we're like, hey, we're Texas going vegan, whatever, that some of y'all about had a heart attack. I'm going to read to you guys some of the comments that we got. What will you guys eat? which is so funny, right? Because we didn't just eat meat. But anyway, I hope you understand what a diet like that does to the body, especially to a child. See, now people are starting to pull at my heartstrings. They're starting to bring my people into this. Like, don't do that. Don't tell me I'm about to ruin my child. Growing kids need protein. You got to get it from a cow or a chicken. Okay. Protein is in everything, guys. Did you know that? Even plants. It's a true story. You're ruining your kid's life. Yeah, those are some things that we got. Here's what I know. God calls us to run our own race. The Bible says that we are to run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus. Did you guys hear that? The race marked out for us. Not the race. He doesn't say, Jen Ware, you need to run the race that's marked out for Sue Jones. The race marked out for me, for us, for my husband and I. The reason that we chose these two paths, which are similar, more of a healthier, in our mind, healthier lifestyle, more of a whole foods lifestyle, was because we had two lives to save in our family. My son with the cancer, and my husband, who was tons of fun, really. We called him Fat Mark. Well, we call him Fat Mark now, because it wouldn't have been nice to call him Fat Mark when he was fat. But when you guys look at pictures of him, you all know, those of you who've known us for 5-6 years, he was not what you might consider a small man. He was a little on the larger side. He had two choices. He could take the meds and do cholesterol and pre-diabetic nonsense, whatever, or he could change his eating and exercise. So pretty much you can figure out what he did. We prayed when Zion got cancer and asked God to save our son. Give us wisdom. We needed wisdom. We were desperate. I asked the oncologist because that's what conventional wisdom would tell you. You pray, you think, I have this oncologist. Maybe he'll know. He was well-versed in chemotherapy. He's well-versed in all of those meds. When I asked him about nutrition, he said this, I don't know, fruits and veggies don't hurt. Okay, little doctor, you've been to school for about 12 years. That's all you're going to give me is fruits and veggies don't hurt? I think I'm going to go ahead and figure this out on my own. Within 48 hours, Mark and I had figured out that the peel of a lemon, when you eat it, actually will stave off skin cancer. That is true. So we started giving our son green smoothies with the lemon peel. Tastes like a lemonade smoothie. It's delicious. We found out juicing will raise the body's alkalinity level. And on and on. Again, I'm not going to make this a nutrition talk. I'm sorry. But I'm just saying, within 48 hours, God gave us the wisdom to help to save our child's life. Even if he had to go through chemotherapy, God gave us wisdom that we would be able to make his life a little easier. Because here's what the doctor said. Your life's going to be a living hell for the next 12 months. That's super. I can't wait. But a good friend told me, doctors know the diagnosis. They don't know the prognosis. Only the Father knows that. And I took that to heart and I've never let it go. Because I'll fix my eyes on the one who has set the race before me. And I won't listen to people around me that were in my chair, that would come into my home, and I'll use my air quotes, pour into my life, right? Friends are great, family's great, but God knows. He wired you, he wired your bodies, he wired your brain, he gave you your children for you. He gave you your path for you, okay? When my son was diagnosed, and when my husband was a big boy and needed a change, we didn't ask our friends. We didn't seek advice on the Facebook. We asked for prayer with Zion, of course. We did it on our blog. We were begging people, please pray for us. This is freaking scary. And we didn't go on Pinterest and pin how to save people from cancer. We didn't go on Pinterest and say how to lose a bunch of weight and lower your cholesterol. We prayed and we asked for wisdom. So you might be wondering, some of you actually not wondering, I know you guys, again, this is called Out from Behind the Chair. These are thoughts that I've had for 24, 25 years that I've kind of cataloged, and I want to share them with you guys. I'm using your words back to you so that you hear the things that you've said to me. A lot of you have said, oh, we can never be like Mark and Jen. They're so driven. They're so this. They're so that. Duh. Why would you want to be like Mark and Jen? God didn't call you to run our race. He called you to run your race, right? The road was difficult. The road is still difficult. Do you guys realize my son, it was 6 years ago, not next month, September, sorry, in 2 months, that he was diagnosed with the cancer. It's never come back. The doctors promised us it would be back within a year, 18 months tops. Promised us. They were hoping to give him a long, healthy life with minimal invasive surgeries, right? It's never come back. He's never had a reoccurrence. The road was difficult. The road is still difficult. 6 years later, I might post something about plant-based eating. Just hey, you guys have asked. I'll post it every single time. 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, I should say. Somebody comments, boy, I bet that, you know how that would be better? With a big steak. It's still difficult, but we press on and we run our race. We run our own race. We try to share information, what's worked for us, but again, it's worked for us. It's not necessarily what God has called everybody else to do. The road is difficult. It was difficult. It'll continue to be difficult because we have opposition at home. Our people still, 4 years later, after being plant-based, still pester and ask, can we buy lunch meat? I'm like, good Lord, no. Lunch meat is filled with CRAP. Look, I spelled it so if your little people are watching. Why would you want to eat that? We get opposition from friends, from our own family. We get opposition with people we don't even know. When I do speaking engagements or when someone even just introduces me, I kid you not, this is how I get introduced. This is my friend Jen Weir. She has 5 kids. Here's her eyes. Like, I can't even make my eyes that big. They're like, oh my God, 5 kids. Listen, I know a woman with 6 kids. I know a woman with 12 kids. I got nothing over here. I'm like, just average. She has 5 kids. Oh my. And they homeschool. Oh my. You know, all of a sudden they're like, okay, I'm going to put her on my prayer list and pray for this crazy lady. The last thing they say to introduce me, oh, and they're vegan. I mean, you just see the people freak out. This crazy lady has 5 kids that she homeschools, and they're vegan. It's almost like saying, and they're swingers, or, and they're gay. I mean, which is cool now, right? It's cool to be gay, or swingers, or it's not cool to be vegan. I know you guys are probably like, oh my God, she just went there. That is a true story. Telling people that you are plant-based is worse than any kind of announcement you can make, right? And you guys have just heard me for the last 5 minutes share why. So 6 years later, right? Kelly Roth, right? You know what I'm talking about. I know you know. Here's the challenge. When I cut hair, my people heard those comments. They've said those comments back to me, which is tricky, right? So I still have opposition with my kids. The very ones that God's called me to raise, to love, to pour into, to run a race with. Here's what God didn't call me to do. Be their best friend. Make them happy. God cares more about my character than my comfort. It's true for you guys too. He cares so much more about our character than our comfort. I had a conversation with this sweet, sweet lady today. She's just one of my most favorite people, and I barely know her. But we were both saying that it's a shame that we can't grow when life is easy, right? It's a shame that when life is easy peasy, everybody's happy, that we don't get strong and we don't get healthy and we don't have different perspectives. It's when we're pressed in, right? I mean, you know that saying about diamonds. They're a lump of coal when they start, but it's crushed and it's pressed and it's squeezed, and then you get this gorgeous diamond. And that's what God's doing to us. 6 years later, 2 things happen. My kid remains to be still cancer-free. My husband is a badass athlete. Oh yes, I said badass on this. You know I did. And he is. He kills it. 5 years ago, if you'd asked him to go for a run, he'd tell you this. I ran enough in the Army. No way, no how. He's training for another marathon. He's training with his kids to do a sprint triathlon. Our kids, they're runners. They do this. They see Dad healthy, strong. Mark ran into his 50s. He didn't crawl into his 50s with a big old brisket belly, right? Because we ran our own race, we didn't look at the crowd. We didn't look at the other runners. We fixed our eyes on the author and the perfecter of our faith for the next step. If any of you guys have ever ran, you know what I'm talking about. If you look to the right or to the left, you're going to fall on your face and people are going to laugh and they're going to post it up on the YouTube and it's going to get 1 million hits and you're going to be humiliated, right? Don't look at the crowd. I'm totally guilty of this. I will look at other people and think, they're doing it better than me. They seem to have it all together. I think, just stop it. No, run your own race. Quit doing that. You go slower when you look at other people when you're running. You fall down and, people make fun of you on the YouTube. And you're frustrated. So, here's my challenge to you guys. If you're going to keep listening, you're going to keep watching, please know every time I'm going to have a challenge. I'm going to tell you to get your paper and write this down. What in your life are you looking to other sources for advice? Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, we need to ask for advice on certain things. People have done whatever before us. Okay, yeah. When Mark and I went plant-based, for example, we went to the library. We went to the bookstore because there's a lot of people who are really super knowledgeable about plant-based eating that would help to give us advice. You might go, let's say you want to run a marathon. Who would you ask? First, you pray. You talk to the Father and say, okay, God, am I ready for this? What do you think? Point me in the right direction of someone who's done this. And then you wait and you listen and you go talk to someone who's finished a marathon. But here's what I'm going to tell you about that, asking other people. How silly would it be for me, a mom that's 43, who's been pregnant 9 times, has had 5 kids, one that, I swear to you, she still hangs on me at almost 4, that homeschools your kids. You see all these things I have on my plate. How silly would it be to go speak to a woman at the gym who has no kids, or maybe one who's in public school? Hey, how do you train for a marathon? Do you think I'm going to be a little disappointed? Do you think that that woman's going to give the right advice for me? Probably not. So you see, the best person to talk to is God the Father about what you're supposed to do. So what in your life do you need to stop doing that? Instead of looking to other sources, look to the source for guidance and direction. All right, can we do this? Can we take the no Facebook and Pinterest pledge? For all you women that are listening, guys, I know that you're not as into Pinterest as us ladies are, but Facebook and Pinterest, can we take this pledge? I do solemnly swear to stop looking at Pinterest to compare how my life measures up. I do solemnly swear to stop looking at Facebook to see how my life measures up. Did y'all take that pledge? I hope so, because we're going to talk about that later on this week. So thanks you guys for joining me. I hope you get out there and you run your own race, and I will see you probably on Wednesday. I think this is going to be a Monday, Wednesday thing. So thanks for joining. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.